So in this session, we're going to talk about planning. As a CFO, I think planning is an important task in any business. If you look at the statistics, 6 in 10 businesses fail within the first 5 years of their trading. That gives you an idea of how difficult it is to run and grow a business. To maximise the chances of success, I think a plan, however short or long that plan is a vital ingredient to making sure that you get to where you want to go and you have success along the way. A plan for me will give an early indication of some of the critical success factors your business needs in order to get to where it wants to go and to meet its goals. And they also gives you, an idea of some of the barriers to success and some of the potholes you need to avoid along the way. It helps a business owner, as well as the business owner's team, create a kind of roadmap and framework to manage the growth of the business. These are all useful things on a day-to-day and week-to-week basis within a business. And if you can create a roadmap that ends up in a financially healthy business, then I think as a CFO, you've got a happy business all round if you can create a financially healthy one. I think the purpose really of a plan is to get the team together, and that's the first point I'd like to make, is I don't think planning is an individual activity. I think it's a team activity, and as a result of that, it's a good opportunity to get the team round a table talking about the plans for the business, what it's going to do across any given period of time, and try to, as a CFO, I try to interpret those plans into a sort of financial narrative for the business and a financial story, and paint a picture of what those plans look like in financial terms. So what I look for getting around the table is the team to articulate what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, what they need in order to be successful. My role really as a CFO is to kind of translate that into as I said, financial story and financial narrative that I can play back to the team to ensure that our story is going to have a happy ending. The purpose of that story is really to help the team understand whether the business journey that they're on is going to be on track at any one point in time, whether they're veering off track, and whether or not we're going to end up in that situation where we've got a happy ending for the business journey that we're on. So if planning is important and the purpose is to get everybody together to talk about the business plans and to translate that into a financial story, what sort of types of planning might we be doing in a business? As a CFO and as an experienced kind of finance professional, often I've sort of really take planning in two main buckets. I like to see a short-term plan, which is really over the next kind of 12 months, and a sort of annual plan where we've got a reasonable amount of detail about the activities that we're going to undertake. We've definitely got the broad brushstrokes laid down in there. We know quite a lot of detail about the resources we need, the costs of those resources, and the outcomes and results we're going to get as a business. And we're kind of putting those into a narrative that's reasonably detailed for the first sort of 12 months of this more budget orientated plan that we're talking about here. And I guess, depending on the size of the business, we're going to take that activity slightly more seriously if we're a bigger business, and we're going to have slightly more room for changes and unforeseen things in a smaller business, as you naturally find in some of the smaller businesses where I've been a CFO. Things fluctuate on a almost daily basis, and therefore worrying too much about putting in a budget that forecasts accurately the next 12 months is, to some extent an exercise to do, but you need to be flexible with the smaller the business. The larger the business, you've probably got a lot of history and trends and confidence that what you say is going to happen. So therefore you can afford to be a little bit more detailed little bit more serious and kind of how you build that expectation budget with the team, and you can adapt it accordingly throughout the year. The other type of plan is really a slightly longer term view of what the business is doing and where it's going. And typically that would be over a 3 to 5 year time horizon. So in there, unlike the short term sort of 12-month budget, we're really looking at understanding where the business is going, the big strategic brushstrokes that the business is making. We're trying to understand the story of the business, its model and its development. And we're going to translate that again into a financial narrative and story, but one where we're not prescribing the absolute detail on a month-to-month basis. We're probably looking at the general progress we're making, more granular information about where we're going and what we're doing, and setting kind of expectations on that basis, but also how that slightly more detailed and near-term plan plays into a longer-term picture, where both of those financial narratives and story end up in a place where the business is going to be financially healthy and successful over both the short and the medium term. And I think if we do that and achieve that visibility in a business, the value of planning, I don't have to sit here and explain to you, that's going to be valuable for a business and increase the chances of success, and that's what we all want.